This Restoration Today podcast is presented by Know How. Know How helps growing restoration companies standardize their operations so they can scale faster and more profitably without the chaos. As a leading process communication platform, Know How's mission is to help restoration companies unlock the full potential of their workforce. For more information, visit tryknowhow.com. Welcome to a fresh episode of the Restoration Today podcast. Hey, if you're liking what you hear, please leave us a review. We would really appreciate it. Hello there. Thank you for checking out this episode of the Restoration Today podcast. Today, we're talking about restoring kindness and specifically the Restoring Christmas charity event. It is spearheaded by Justin Brown and Excel Cleaning and Restoration Supplies. They are located in Florida. And this event, he collects toys every year, and it benefits children in the area and the Children's Network of Southwest Florida. So I'm going to toss it right over to Justin. I want him to introduce himself and talk about his background in the restoration industry. I know you've been in several roles in the industry and now have your own supply company. So Justin, thank you for joining me. Thank you for telling us about your project. I think that this will be great for other restorers to hear about and maybe think about implementing something like this in their community. So, all right, go ahead and introduce yourself, and thanks for being here.
Absolutely. And thank you, Michelle, for having me. My name is Justin Brown. I've been in the industry for about 15 years now. Myself and family own a cleaning restoration supply business called Excel Supplies. Recently partnered with a company called Grand Quartz and the Perlman Group to help us continue to grow. With that, it hasn't slowed us down with our Restoring Christmas initiative. This is something that we started 7 years ago. Funny enough, because of personal reasons and my own child at the time, she was 2 years old. Her name is Riley. And Christmas time comes around, and with aunts and uncles and grandmas and grandpas and two sets and cousins and everybody buying gifts, it was kind of one of those moments where you're sitting around and you realize this is just too much. Yeah. We're fortunate enough that my daughter gets stuff throughout the year, some things she doesn't need, and won't sugarcoat it. She's spoiled, like I think most of our kids probably are, and possibly take it for granted. So it's kind of one of those surreal moments where you had to stop and look and say, there's got to be a better way to do this. So at that Christmas, I had announced to our family, I said, I think we should look at, rather than doing all these gifts, we're going to do one gift. That's it. So each kid gets one gift from us. And if you guys want to go above and beyond, then let's find an organization or somewhere that can better use these gifts, time, money, energy. And everybody liked the idea. So literally after Christmas that year, I started doing some research on different organizations that we could help out. And the thing was, not that there's anything wrong with organizations like Toys for Tots and these other big names, but we wanted to be a little bit more personal. And we wanted to find somebody, a way to get actual wish lists from kids that were in less than perfect situations. And with that, we stumbled across the Children's Network of Southwest Florida. They're located here in Fort Myers, and they're kind of the middleman that help not only find kids foster homes while their parents are going through whatever rehab or therapy they may need. Their ultimate goal is to get the kids back into the house with the parents. Sometimes that doesn't happen. So they're very involved with the system. At the time, they were already doing something similar. They had it called Operation Santa, where they were getting with the foster parents or temporary homes and getting wish lists from these kids and trying to find people to fill them. So it was exactly what we wanted to do. At that point, we realized, we couldn't do a whole lot just ourselves as far as the impact we could make, but I knew that with our customer database and the help of our clients, we could certainly grow it. I had no idea it would become what it has now. And I had chosen to name it Restoring Christmas because I knew that our restoration customers were going to be the ones that would probably help spearhead this the best. And on top of that, you don't really read too much about restorers. In fact, our industry is very small. It's kind of a niche thing. Not a lot of people know about. It's not a repeat business. At least you hope it's not. If you're the homeowner, But, we see day in and day out what these guys are going through. We've been on jobs ourselves and see living in Florida and having storms, every couple of years. We've been through the cat events, and, restorers truly do restore people's lives. And it's something that I want to try to shed light on our industry in a positive aspect with these guys. And funny enough, the way it worked out, my original idea was we'll get these lists, we'll get them out to the restorers, we'll go out and buy the gifts, and then we'll caravan. And I wanted everybody in their wrapped vehicles and get the news there and try to get publicity for these guys. Funny enough, the first year, I think only one person showed up in a wrapped vehicle, and it came out that they didn't care. They didn't care about the press. They didn't care about the publicity. And that says a lot.
It does.
Not that there's anything wrong with getting, some attention for something good. We also learned that a lot of restorers, restoration companies, their employees, and even some owners grew up in the system or were adopted or in the foster care system. So they really enjoyed going out and doing the shopping. And the way it works is when customers come into our shop, we harass them to the point where I do whatever I can to guilt trip them into taking on as many kids as they will. And they're given a list with a kid's name and age, and usually 3 different things they requested for Christmas. And the first year we did around 100, give or take, is how many kids were able to get taken care of. And last year we ended up at almost 1,100. And it's something that, gives me chills as I say that, because it's not just 1,100 toys. These are approximately 1,100 kids that are actually receiving something that they asked for Christmas that otherwise would not have. And it's all because of our restorers. Now it's also our cleaning contractors, and then all the subcontractors. So we've got drywall guys, we've got painters, we've got plumbers, we have personal friends. I now have some of the martial arts community involved from where I train. It's something that our customers are sending out when they're sending out monthly invoices. They're putting something in there about, getting involved with it. So it's grown to a point of something I never thought it would. And we certainly hope that it will inspire others in their community to try to do something similar, duplicate it.
Awesome. Okay, so let's talk about the logistics behind it. So you talked about the charity that you chose. What were the logistics? Did you know for sure that this was the charity you wanted? Did you kind of vet some different charities, or you just really had to focus on, I know this organization and this is where we want to go?
So ironically, we didn't know until after the fact that, and I don't think I've shared this before, but her name is Karen, and she's one of the main people we deal with there. When my wife and I bought our first home, she had brought us cookies the day we moved in. Okay. And fast forward like 10 years, I find the Children's Network, and I said, man, you look really familiar. Come to find out, it was her and her involvement with it. So that was kind of part of it after the fact. But we did like the fact that they were local. As far as the vetting process, they are the ones who are dealing with the court systems. So they are very vetted. And we did like also the fact that we knew that these gifts from the first year, we actually delivered these gifts to kids' houses ourselves. Mm-hmm. There's some things about that didn't work out great, and we don't necessarily do that anymore. But we knew that they were going to the right place. And quite frankly, I like having the responsibility more so placed on an organization that's what they deal with every day. They know these families, they know these foster parents, these are people they work with day in, day out. They know each individual kid. So we know for a fact that these things are going where they need to. And that's kind of the whole other value versus some of these bigger toy drives, is that you don't really know who's getting them. Sometimes things being sifted through and good stuff taken out. And these gifts are delivered with the child's name, their ID number on it. And, we sleep good at night knowing that.
So who manages kind of the like behind the scenes stuff of coordinating this? Like I know that you have flyers, you have probably stuff up in your stores, you have a Facebook page,
Yeah.
you have all the things. So who's doing all that?
So I'm just the pretty face of all this.
Okay.
We have a team behind us. Actually, my sister Danielle is really the brains behind the organizational side, and then we have Kim in our office as well. We kind of refer to them as our elves. They're the ones that are really making this stuff happen behind the scenes, uh, managing the spreadsheets, communicating with the network. We request more lists, and then we've got to keep up with those and where they're going. We keep track, and then obviously when everything comes in, we got to make sure they're labeled correctly and all that. So yeah, it's our whole team here at Excel is it's something that typically the whole month of November is dedicated to this. So we're fortunate that our owners and executives are allowing us to use company time to be able to grow this. So
Do you have restorers and subcontractors and other customers who know that this is coming and look forward to coming back in and getting lists and being part of it every year?
yeah, it's funny. We've got a handful of ones that start calling us beginning of October and asking if they can get lists. Um, you know, we almost have the easier part as far as doing the shopping and getting the list and managing the list. The Children's Network is really who has the hard part of collecting those lists. So it takes them a while to get all those requests, put it together, and then get them to us at that point.
So how soon are you talking to them every year? Is it in October? Is it even before then?
No, we almost start talking, first quarter of the
Okay.
year,
Yeah.
because every year we learn something different, how we want to do, change things. We also, something that we haven't talked about, we work with them throughout the year. We have some of our contractors that have now established that relationship and help them out throughout the year with different needs that they may have. Typically, we all help the same crowd that does Restoring Christmas. We usually deliver Thanksgiving dinners for them as well. And it's the same faces. It's all restorers and their employees to look forward to it. We recently had a customer that volunteered their time to, I don't remember if it was a car seat. I believe it was a car seat drive that they did. And I didn't even know anything about it. Come to find out it's our restorers that had gone out there and done that, with them, which was great. So
That is great. That is great. Have you heard any stories over the years from the Children's Network of like when they've handed out the gifts or, responses from the kids or anything
um,
like that?
it's funny because I kind of get emotional thinking about it, but we've done different things every year. And, there was one year where we had some kids to open gifts up in front of some of us when we delivered the toys, and there wasn't a dry eye in there.
I'm sure.
I don't care, what the age, sex, grown men in there, crying to see these kids. In fact, it makes it sad because we don't do that anymore.
Mhm.
We don't have the kids come and open up gifts because we learned that sometimes that's their only gift that they're going to get. And so the foster parents or parents, depending on what the situation is, didn't like the idea of them opening that one gift there, and we don't usually put from on these gifts either, so that sometimes that way it's from the foster parent or from the parent themselves who aren't in a financial position to do those things. So that way it can just be if it's from them or if it's from Santa. But yeah, we've certainly got a lot of stories, success stories and how happy these kids are, and that's why it continues to grow, because once that was seen just once, and then the stories from it is enough to keep these guys going.
Yeah. Okay. So I know that this is absolutely not the point, but one of the benefits of doing something like this is for your business as well and the contractors who are involved, and that has positive impacts on the business and your reputation in the community, right? So you were talking about that at the beginning of trying to help restorers gain a really good reputation in your area, whatever. So how have you seen maybe your business grow, or the contractors who are involved, their businesses be impacted by doing something that's outside of restoration?
Sure. I wish I could tell you that I think that that's happened, but we talked about this industry being a niche business and a very small industry. From the distribution standpoint, it's even smaller. And because we don't really sell to the public or really have anything for the public, I can't say it's really necessarily benefited our business. What I will say is that it has strengthened the relationships that we have with our partners. Something that we've always prided ourselves on with our clients and customers is we do look at them as partners. We feel we're only as successful as they're going to be. And so being side by side with our customers or partners, during events like this just strengthens those relationships. And that's that's more important to us. We don't get new restorers because they heard of what we did. But it certainly helps me keep the ones that I got. And I will say I'm sure that some of our guys have gotten some jobs from different people they've met throughout all of this, and it's strengthened it. But again, my original thought of giving these guys some sort of publicity or a pat on the back publicly has been completely forgotten. Nobody cares anymore. So if it happens, it happens. But everybody's priority is definitely about the kids now.
Have there been any surprises along the way, or things you think other contractors maybe should know if they're going to start doing something like this, as I don't know, on the logistical side or the emotional side?
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. We're happy to help guide people through what we have learned. Again, we fine tune it every year. This being our 7th year, I feel like we run pretty smooth. But there's definitely some speed bumps, and I would say, start slow, start with a few at a time. I hope that people take the general idea of doing these wish lists and, making sure that it's kids in your community that somebody is able to vet. With our Facebook page, we do get messages from all walks of life, asking for free toys. And it's selfishly, it's nice because we can say, listen, we deal with the Children's Network only. If there's any needs or anything, that's where we sell cleaning and restoration supplies.
Yeah.
We're not in the family business. They are. So then that way, we have that buffer. And to your point earlier, the vetting thing, for sure. So it's definitely something that has to grow. Again, if you look back, we started with around 100 kids, and now we're over 1,000. It didn't happen overnight.
Are there any price ranges or guidelines given to the kids as they make their lists? I mean, kids can dream big. Also, having spoiled children of my own,
Sure. I can't say for sure the conversations that are being had with the Children's Network and them, but we have seen an average of $40 to $60 per wish that they have on there is about what they have. So when we try to quote unquote sell these lists, I usually say plan on about $60 per kid. And sometimes it's less, sometimes it's a little more. I have found that most of our customers spend more than that on there. They get very into it. So if they see a kid that wants a bike, well, they're not just going to get a bike. They're going to get a bike based off of the sex, and they're going to get a matching helmet, and they're going to get, it's definitely, these guys go above and beyond. Sometimes they'll give them, additional stuff than what they asked for. And the nice thing about getting a little bit more information as far as their age and sex is that it helps you really dial in on, what kind of gifts you're going to give them. So
that's really fun. I love it. Any unique gifts over the years, even just one where you're like, man, they really had to hunt for that one?
No, it's usually the opposite. The bikes are always my favorite. Anything outdoor always makes me happy.
Right? Go outside, go play.
Ones that hit home are when you see lists with kids that are about your kids' age asking for the same things that they're into that are simple. I guess if I was to say that the ones that stick out the most are when it's necessities. Mm-hmm. When you see one that's, the teenage girls asking for lotions and body washes. And actually, now that I just thought about this, we did have one this year. Kim here in our office came across, I don't remember how old it was, but I know it was a female, and her wish was for her mom. So don't know the situation, but it's one of those things you gotta, we take for granted a lot of stuff. So
Yes, yes, we do. Well, I love this. Okay. And this was a lot of good information for anybody who's thinking about doing something like this. So, okay, anything else you want to add? Anything we haven't touched on?
I don't think so. I really appreciate the fact that you're giving us some time to talk about it, and I really truly hope that it inspires other people, across the country to try to get involved and do this, and uh, to make it personal, and to maybe take a step back and think about the way that we all spoil our children, or um, where our money goes sometimes, and to know that we can do good with it, and at the same time, I think the more they get involved, the more positive light we can bring to our industry. I think that the restorers out there deserve that. There's a lot of good companies out there that do a lot of good things that don't get any credit for it, whether they want it or not. I think they deserve it. So I think the more of us that can do things like this, the better.
Yes, I agree. Awesome. Well, thank you, Justin, very much. And I will look forward to seeing pictures and hearing how this year goes and sharing this with the industry. And so thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for the platform.
For more Restoration Today, visit our website, cnrmagazine.com, or find us wherever you get your favorite podcasts.